You didn't pick Go High Level because it's a course platform, right? You pick Go High Level because you can do your CRM, you can do your pipelines, you can do your client communication, you can do your automations, you can do your affiliates, right? There are a bajillion things that you can do in Go High Level. And then you decided to build a course. We're going to take a look at whether or not that is costing your learner something. I'm Dr. Katrina Mitchum, and I have been designing and redesigning courses online since 2009. So I am doing the same lesson. This is the brain dump exercise that has videos, audios, timed activities, 3 distinct pathways to choose from. And it's the same lesson I'm running through all of the platforms in this series. This is a different kind of test, just because so far we've looked at platforms that sell themselves primarily as course platforms, right? Like that's the foot that they lead with. Go High Level and my next few videos are really platforms that weren't chosen for courses. They just happen to have a course feature built in. And so the question really is a tool that was built for client acquisition, because that is its main role, can it also support the learner after you have acquired them in your course? Okay, so Go High Level is huge. There is a ton of stuff that you can do. We are starting here on the dashboard just so I can show you one of my points. This is all made up data. I am on a trial, but there is a lot that you can do. There's conversations, calendars, contacts. Most people choose Go High Level because they want an all-in-one and they want to use this for their business because there's so many different options. I had a hard time initially finding the courses button. A lot of the programs have it labeled as products, which I don't agree with that term, but I wasn't expecting it to be under memberships, but that is where we in fact found it. So there's client, all of the client pieces are managed here in terms of memberships and communities. So courses, communities, I'm going to go ahead and go into courses. They are still calling it products. It's buried a couple of layers in. And so I'm already starting to see some friction from the designer point, right? So if you already have Go High Level and you're trying to use the course piece because it's there, that's one thing. But if you're trying to decide whether or not you shift entirely, just remember that Go High Level kind of has a steeper learning curve. Things are a little bit more buried than in some of the other platforms I've been in. Okay, so once I get into courses, products, you'll see I've already been in here and doing things and stuff. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a course. So I'm going to click create new, and I can either start from scratch or very clearly they're in competition with Kajabi, so I can import from Kajabi. I'm not importing anything from Kajabi right now. I typically find imports are a hot mess. That might be another video. If you want to see that video, let me know in the comments. So I'm going to start from scratch. We're going to put in a course title, course description. We can upload a thumbnail. I'm not going to for this one, but know that when I did go to upload, it did not let me put in alt text. I can set up pricing. I'm just going to create it. So we're looking at like 2 or 3 clicks to being able to actually do something in the space. Okay, so this is the course builder. It gives you a welcome badge that you can give to people. I'm not really sure the purpose of that. I guess if you wanted to gamify things, it also already creates a sort of structure for you. I really don't like that. So in this one, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Okay. Oh, that looks better. I'm going to add a module. So again, this is pretty easy. Module 1. Then I can go in and add content into the module. So we do get a couple of layers in Go High Level where I can add a submodule. So if you're following along, I am doing the same lesson across all of the platforms that I'm doing. And this lesson is my brain dumping lesson. So I'm going to call it step 1 brain dumping. So in theory, I could create a second submodule that is step 2. Okay, then under my submodule, I want to create a lesson. As you could see, when I went to add content, I could also add quizzes and assignments, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. I just want to get into a lesson so we can start to dig into what our options are. So this is your build space for a lesson. It kind of demands lesson media here. So you can upload files or videos, and I'll show you what those both look like in just a second. So you can do from a link, you can do embed, and I have already played with all this. And then there's a place where you can write text. And so you do have to have either text or the media in order for you to be able to save it and publish it. On the right-hand side, you can include a thumbnail for the lesson itself. And then there's also a place for downloadable resources. And that's pretty much it. That's all you can kind of put in here. You can then save and publish it. And we'll go look at that when I show you the student view. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and jump into the one that I have already created to show you. I did keep the course contents in here so that you can see what this looks like on the student side, but we are going to jump down to the kind of different flavors that I built out for this particular lesson. So we are looking at this first one. I did step 1 brain dump, start here, picking your path. This is where I gave the instructions on deciding which path that you're taking. When it came to actually putting the paths in here, so you can see I put an audio in here instead of a video. Really my only choices were creating something where all of the paths happen in a linear format, just because there's no real way to build anything else out. And if I wanted to have both the content and the assignment piece separate, then they do show up as two different things. What I can do is I could throw all of the path 1 stuff into the same assignment, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. But this is what I ended up with, right? So multiple paths. So I included up to path 2. So the other option, and this is what I called step 1, take 2, is including the pick your path. So you can see I put the video here. I did include a lesson thumbnail. This is from my YouTube series about platforms because they are all garbage, as we're seeing. You can see that I have put some things in here as uploads so they can download those things easily. And then I have my instructions. So the other thing that I did was in path 1, I've got this YouTube video. So I inserted as a video, as a link instead of uploading it to the platform itself. It does change the way it looks for me. And then I included, because I like to include audio and video with everything, both of them, and the transcripts. So I was able to put audio in the text box itself. And so there are a couple different ways that we can do that. There is an embed media feature and insert image. And so those are 2 ways that we can get other things in here. So I did include the audio, and then I included all of the questions. And so this is another way we could do it. And then the link to the workbook that will take them outside of the platform itself. So one more thing that I want to show you about like a different option as I was trying to make this thing work is I could take all of the things for a path and stick them into a single assignment. And so that is what I tried to do with this path 3. So it literally has all of the instructions copied and pasted. I am going to go ahead and change that heading because we already know that causes problems. So something I can do is I can make it so that this assignment is not graded, and then I can say, thanks for submitting. So I'm going to save and publish that. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the back end of things because my first question is, can we track things other than clicking complete and watching videos, right? And so I have already gone in as a student and done some clicking around and submitting of things. And so we're going to look at the back end of that now. So there are a few different things that we can look at, the course progress, and that gives us an overall view, the assignment level, and then member analytics. This was not easy to get to. I found it going under courses and analytics, but there are other analytics places to click on. And so I guess the rule of thumb is in Go High Level is go to the thing that you're trying to look for the analytics of, and it will tell you. So what I'm going to click on here to answer that first question first is the assessments. And we can see I turned something in. I have already graded it, but I can view it from here. And so these were the instructions for that particular one. This was my answer. If I had uploaded it, it would have been here. And then that was the feedback, and I was able to give feedback. So that is the first assignment. Now, when I go into view the member progress, this is kind of the most comprehensive view that you can have of your learners. We can see that I didn't do any of the first because I didn't even click in there. And then in module 1, I did 50%. So initially, when I did the path 1 assignment, this was not there. I had to submit the assignment and then click completed in order for this to turn green. And as you can see, I can also uncheck it, and that will let them take it back. But when I do check it, it does increase how much of module 1 was completed. And so it is tracking. It's just still just tracking completed versus submitted. And I'm going to show you that in a minute with the path 3 assignment. I've kept this one blank on purpose. So we can see like which modules, which assignments that completed button has actually been clicked on. And we can look at their assignments. So I am going to go show you what the student view looks like, and we're going to go ahead and submit an assignment. Okay, so this is what the student side of the course looks like. I was already playing around with the color contrast with Successible, and because you don't get to choose where all these colors go, you just get to choose colors, I ended up with this in order to make it readable. So I will go ahead and click in here and show you the course contents just from what they give you that you're supposed to be able to go in and do yourself. So I can just go in and mark things as complete. But if I go back out, because I did not make this drip, I can scroll down and click on the path 3 assignment, and all of the instructions show up here. And so really what I could do is each path just becomes an assignment. And as long as I don't make it graded and I don't make it required, they should be able to skip around as needed. But there is a lot of clicking, and so start assignment. I can type my assignment in, or I can upload it here. There's a lot of different types of files that you could take. So if you wanted them to be able to do voice notes or videos or even drawings, all of that can happen in here. Okay, so what I get as a student is assessment is under review. Your assignment is being reviewed by the instructor. We appreciate your patience. So it's kind of in this limbo land. Okay, so as you saw, all I pressed was submit. I came back over to member progress. I just refreshed the page. Nothing is here. So I'm going to pull the student view back up and scroll down, and we can see I hadn't marked it as complete yet. So I'm going to do that now and then swing back over and refresh. Hopefully it pops up. Been having some weird things happen when I click refresh on this view. Okay, and now it is showing up. And so that mark complete really does need to be clicked. And so to answer question 1, I'm going to say conditional pass because it is, you can use assignments to track student progress. But if they're only submitting to you and they're not marking it as complete, then it's really not tracking the progress in the system. So it makes it harder for you to know at a glance whether or not they're doing it, but you do still get to go in and see the assignment view. So it does make it a little more manual. The actions are to grade it. Here's all the instructions. I have nothing to say. If I want to select feedback, I can. Now, when I set this up, I had selected to be ungraded, but that's not happening. It's asking me to mark as failed or as passed. I don't really like that language, especially in this kind of a situation where this is about giving actual feedback so people learn things. It's like more formative kind of assessment on learning, as opposed to like, who gives a grade in a business in a course that they sell, right? Anyway, so mark as passed, and then they'll be able to see it on their end of things. So that first question gets a conditional pass. We're going to jump back into the course outline so I can explain to you why it fails the pick your path. So like I said, I had to either have multiple path 1 options or make all 3 paths just an assignment, which is fine, but there's no way to link it. There's no way to see just the path that I'm on. I have to see all of the other paths as well. And so for question 2, are student pathways able to be built into the platform? The answer to that is no. So it fails that one. The third option, or the third question, is friction, right? We're looking at student friction. And so as you could see in this assignment, I can retake it. So we're going to do that. I put my answers in here and then I clicked submit, and I had already clicked completed, but I would have need to click completed in order for that to continue. And then the only reason why I don't have additional click paths is because I went ahead and put all the content in here, right? In the designer side of things, there was no ability to put things other than written instructions. So I'm going to go back in here and show you when I edit this, I can put some custom values. I can put in some code editor, or I can access embed some media this way. And that really is the only way I can put anything other than written instructions into that assignment. That is the creative workaround. is to just kind of dump everything into this assignment type space. But it does limit on, other things. So for me, when I get to step 2, I have 3 different pathways, and each of those pathways has more than one part to it. So I would really have to start getting nitty gritty in how I break things up. I would probably have to create a whole new submodule just for that particular step. So for question 2, it's also getting a fail because these are creative workarounds. It is not intuitive to the platform itself. So for question 3, it is still getting a fail because even though as the designer, I can create these workarounds that reduce the amount of clicking, it is not ideal to have to do that all in this kind of assignment space that also doesn't work very well as a back and forth between the instructor and the student. Honestly, I had been pretty excited about this assignment capability in Go High Level. I had not yet been in the background when I was that excited. I had just been on the receiving end, but really what I had received is all you can really do with it. You can give some feedback, but that back and forth breaks very quickly. And the other thing that I'm going to point out from the student perspective is I had uploaded captions and that is not showing up here. So clearly there are some accessibility issues. I haven't even run Successible yet, but that is next. Okay, so I have run Successible on the outline page like I've been doing on all the other platforms. We've got 21 issues, 18 of those are alt text. As you can see, these are all icons basically built into the platform itself. The other issue that's coming up is poor color contrast, and that's their logo, and also some textual elements that have that those low contrast colors. Okay, so I'm running the accessibility check again, and it's coming up with the same issues, which is a little bit suspicious because it is still reading the things in the background instead of the things that are, I guess because this is functioning like a pop-up, which if the tool isn't seeing it, it makes me worried about if you needed a screen reader, whether or not it's actually going to be able to see the elements that are in this pop-up page or not. I can't really answer that question, but it is definitely something that needs to be looked into. Okay, so this is now the student view. I ran Successible, the accessibility tool, found some alt text issues that are in images that I couldn't add any alt text to, so you'd have to do that beforehand. And then these skipped heading levels. This I have absolutely zero control over as well. So we're going to go check out a lesson page and run the accessibility check. We have some poor color contrast. And these are all around links that are just embedded in the tool that I cannot control. Okay, so this is the module where I did upload the captions. As you can see, those are showing up. And so I can turn those on and off. Right now they're disabled. I can turn them on and they'll show up on the bottom, so that's good. This is the one with YouTube, so I'm gonna go ahead and run that accessibility check again. We're still having all the same issues, right? The images that I can't control, the buttons and the contrast issues on those buttons, the heading issues. Again, these are not things that I have built in or any control over. It is saying it's missing captions, but the captions are available through YouTube. And then this I know was missing captions. So a lot of the things that are coming up as accessibility issues in here, there isn't anything I can do about it. It is part of the platform. If you're interested in trying Successible out for yourself, there is a link in the description. I am forever and always saying start with what your course needs. And so if your course needs a feedback loop or for people to feel seen, or is it just confirming that someone did the thing, right? That is the question to ask. Go High Level can confirm things. It can tell you that someone submitted. It can make you grade it pass, fail. What it can't do is support you giving real feedback, real formative feedback in a conversational way. This is the kind where you respond, they revise, you respond again, and then something actually changes for them. For me, the real deal breaker is that a lot of the things that I'm asking my clients to do not get a pass-fail, right? You can't pass-fail a brain dump. You can't pass-fail a reflection. And those are ways that people do actually enact learning. A course activity is not an exam. I'm not giving out grades. This isn't a university. The moment you start forcing a grading relationship, the feedback becomes distorted. If you want to see all the research I've done on that, check out the description. You'll also find my newsletter where you can get actionable tasks to actually do this right. Go High Level built an assignment tool with a grading model, but course creators need a conversation model. They are not the same thing, and the only way to make it work is another creative workaround. I really was super excited to see what the assignment tool had to offer. That pass-fail requirement killed that excitement instantly. But the model is wrong, right? Pass-fail is for evaluation. Courses that people buy from you are for transformation. And you can't get transformation through an evaluation tool, no matter how powerful all the other tools are. So Go High Level might be for you if you have no other choice, or if you have a content repository, or if you are building something that is more like an official certificate where you do need to pass evaluations in order to be able to get that certificate. But if you're trying to create a course where you're helping somebody through a process, then it's probably not a good fit. In next week's video, I'm covering another, well, I bought it for this and they threw this in. We're going to cover Thrive Cart Learn. If it's not there, it'll be there next week.